Hey guys, Nick from Indie Farm Life here. Going to be dealing with a little bit of a persistent issue that I've been having on my 2520 here, right behind me. For the past year or so, it runs great, but every once in a while it just starves itself of fuel. And a couple of weeks ago, it's probably been a couple of months ago now, had gotten in there and sucked some of the fuel out and was bringing some debris out. And I figured that's what was happening, is that I was getting debris down the bottom of that fuel tank and it was clogging the outlet port. It ran perfectly for a while, and then the issue came back. So my guess is that there's more debris in there, and I just couldn't get it out with my shop vac and tube and a rig that I had made for that. So today I'm going to go through the lengthy process, I believe. I hope it's not, but the process of pulling that tank off of the 2520 and actually be able to get it off the machine and then dump it out and see what's going on inside there. So I'm going to kind of step through those processes as we go, kind of show you what I'm seeing, explain maybe a little bit how to do it, probably do a few things wrong in the process, and then you'll know what not to do if this issue's on your machine as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. So here we are on the side of the machine where the fuel separator is, and where I'm going to start is I'm going to start by taking off this little spring clamp here and pulling that fuel hose off. That fuel hose runs from the bottom of the tank itself. That's up here. And don't let that drain out while I do some work of removing all the mounting bolts from the actual fuel tank. As you can see, I've already kind of started in on this. There was a bolt here that I have removed right there. And that's one of the mounting points of the fuel tank that I've found so far. The other one is actually stuck back behind here, kind of behind the instrument panel. So here we are, back up a little bit. That comes down here, and that other mounting point is back behind there. So what I've done is I've actually removed this mounting point of the instrument panel. That bolt was there. And what that did is allows me to pull that back and out of the way. And the other mounting bolt was right there. So I took that one out already as well. I've got to do the right side of the machine. This still feels pretty rigid, so my guess is that there's probably something on the front side as well. So we'll have to see what we get into. All right, I got both the left, right side mounting points unbolted, 2 bolts each, and it seemed as though that fuel tank is also attached to this firewall right here. There is a bolt right here. My guess is that it's holding that on as well with the bracket. What I'm also going to have to do is take this fuel sending unit out as well. So this is what's monitoring the level of your fuel and sending that back to your fuel gauge at the instrument panel. So I'll take that off as well, and maybe that will be the end of it, and I'll be able to try to finagle this thing out of here. Just to make mention also, my guess, in order to get that out, I'm going to have to take off the mounting point of the hood prop and somehow hold the hood up and pull the fuel tank out all at the same time without the hood falling on top of me. So that'll be fun. Technically, I could probably take the hood off. Looks like it's this series of 3 bolts back there would take that off. But at the same time, you also have your wiring harness running up here to your lights. Not really sure where and how that attaches. I don't really want to mess with that. So I'm probably going to make it harder on myself and try to just move the prop and take it out with the hood on. All right, as I said, learning as we go. So I got the wires detached from the fuel sending unit. I'm going to take that thing all the way off. The way I said it earlier made it sound that way. Just unplug the spade connectors. We then have this pressure relief valve that goes down the side of the machine. It's got a little spring clamp on here that I'm going to put some needle nose on and pull it off. So I'm going to pull that off. It seems once I got that bolt here on the front, that seems to be detached. So once I get that out of the way and the fuel drained, I'm hoping for the best. All right, plan B. I already had one mounting location of the instrument panel taken off, so I figured why not try pulling that off to see what I could get to. So what I did is I actually removed the throttle from that instrument right here. And then you pull up this little rubber grommet that surrounds the steering wheel shaft, and then there's 2 additional mounting bolts, one on this side and one over here on this side. That allowed me to pull pull that instrument panel back, and what it's actually revealing, now let me shut the hood for you real quick. So what you can actually see now is the mounting pin for the hood. You can actually get to that. And I don't think I'm going to be able to pull this tank out without the hood being off. So I'm going to mess with getting this pin out, being able to detach the hood, and figure out what to do with it with the wiring harness that is still going up to the front headlights. So that'll be really fun. Stay tuned. All right, one success at a time. Got that mounting pin out. Not too hard. The hardest part is going to be lifting up this hood. Because again, as I said, this wiring harness going to the lights, it's attaching it. And there's really no good way to get rid of that outside of pulling all the connectors up through the hood. One's down here along the side, on the inside, up the lights. So I'm still draining slowly. You know, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully the next shot is success with the tank sitting on the floor. All right, well I was half right. There was going to be something on the ground, but it's not my fuel tank. There's no way to get that out of there with the hood still on. Doing this by myself. So the hood had to come off. Like I showed you, the pin was out. And then I just ended up taking all the wiring harness connectors. Come over here and show you that. So it's running behind the instrument panel. And it had all these plastic connectors. I actually broke that one off completely, it looks like. That one's still a little bit intact. And then it ran all the way up here to the headlight connectors. So I'll just have to, like that one is destroyed. So I'll have to see if I can get them back in there. And I think electrical tape and zip ties are going to be my best friend. So, still waiting for the fuel tank to drain. It's a very slow process. It's got to be about empty. Hopefully so, because my bucket's about full. Success. Got it out. Wasn't fun, wasn't easy, but I got it out. Now it's time to diagnose. On to step 2. Or 10, or 12, or 40, wherever I am. Okay. Tank has been flushed several times with fresh diesel. And don't know how well this is going to show up on video, but there are some black specks in the bottom of that pool of diesel that came out of the tank. So at one point I had gotten debris when filling the tank. It was either in the fuel itself, in the line I was using, the funnel, what have you. Primarily, there's that black chunk there. And what I've also learned is that the nozzle that comes out of the bottom of the tank is not very large. I put that back on there. I probably shouldn't have, so I should show you guys. But there's just not a very large hole for the fuel to come from, or come through, I should say. And I think that's a little bit of a design flaw, because if you do get debris and trash in your fuel, it then plugs up the port coming out of the tank. And you're left in the situation that I am, where you've got to pull the entire tank to be able to fix the issue. I think what could be done is that there could be a primary fuel filter, some sort, off the side of the machine that caught large debris, then allowed the fuel to go through the separator and the secondary fuel filter, or what's on there now, and do all the fine particulates. However, I'm sure for cost, and this is a 2-series machine, so it's not a lot of room on there either. But as far as I'm aware, I don't think any of the subcompact series, 1, 2, 3, or 4, are going to have that type of large debris filter that's accessible to someone such as myself or yourself to be able to get that type of debris filtered out of the fuel before going to the primary source of use. So it is what it is. That one was from Bill. I'm gonna start putting this back all together, and hopefully I can get it without too much trouble, and it works how I think it should. Okay, so the tank's back in. It's all hooked up. I put a bit of fuel in it, started it up. Well, back up, I attempted to start it up. Turned the key on, got the fuel pump and everything clicking, just like normal. But when I turned the key, nothing would happen. Thought maybe a seat switch, it's really hard to say. Seat switch was messed up. Not that. After about 5 minutes, realized that the PTO engagement had gotten pulled in the mix of me pulling that off. So if you're doing this, can't get your tractor to start, make sure your PTO drives down, or switch, whatever. So I am going to button this all back up, attempt to get the hood back on. That'll be really fun. Get that instrument panel back in, and put it all back together and run it and see how she does. We'll see. All right, there she is. All put back together. I will say one thing, it goes back together a lot easier than it went apart. So time to fill it up with some more fuel and run it for a while and see how she does. By the way, these are literally the only 5 things that I use to do this job. I had a bolt that I found laying around that plugged the fuel line once I took the tank out. A pair of L-shaped needle nose. Those things were awesome. Used them everywhere. 10mm bolt was literally the only size. Hammer and zip ties. That's all you need, guys. All right, well, if you're having fuel issues, running issues, fuel starvation issues, no start, whatever, maybe this is where you can start. It just come down to, I think there's debris in that fuel tank, and it was clogging the hole, and it was starving itself of fuel. And that's really how it acted over the last year or so, is that it would run fine, I mean, for hours on end, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't want to run hardly at all. And I just think that's when the debris got down in that hole, until you could get it sloshed around and out of there, until it actually run right. So hopefully that helps somebody out there. Like we've always said, we've got projects galore that go on around here. Lots more coming, and hopefully this is helpful. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it with your friends, your family, co-workers, bosses, whoever. Get the word out. We're always doing something fun around here, and we'll see you next time.